equation and then evaluate the sum. So now we just need to evaluate this. And there you have it. For those who are able to get this, move on please to level 8, problem number 6. That's where I'm going next. For those who have some questions who are still on this problem, feel free to take your time and let me know where there are questions. But we're going to level 8, problem 6 next. And I'll be modeling down the board here in a second, but I want to take some questions here before we go on. Why? So yeah, I think this one is doable without a calculator. But on the next problem, for example, you will need a calculator, number 6. But this one I would say would be doable without the calculator. If there are any questions on level 8, number 1, before I go to level 8, number 6. Okay. Okay, level 8, number 6. So they want the sum of the first 50 terms. Okay, sum of the first 50 terms. When I look at this, I identify immediately what kind of sequence this is. I identify immediately some of the important points about the sequence. I very quickly identify what I'm looking for. I know that because we have this kind of sequence, this formula will apply to find the sum. Now I'm simply going to, Nora? Absolutely right, thank you very much. Right, so it is absolutely -3 because the numbers are getting smaller. Excellent. We know what A1 is, let's go ahead and plug that in. Right. Go ahead and simplify sum expression. Many of you are already doing that on your own, don't need to wait for me, that's great. Now you need to do something to solve for this unknown. Refer back to the previous problem if you need to. Remember the general formula. Okay. You can stop me if the logic breaks down or if there's an algebra step that is unclear. and I am 100% confident this would be a calculator problem, right? We would, of course, grade the work, so we'd expect you to just put the calculator at the last step. So let me see if there are questions on this. For those who are good with this, the next one I'm going to is level 9, problem 6, which is there's no new skill there. It's just combining two skills. There's two parts. So level 9, number 6 is where I'm going next. But let me verify there are no questions here before I go to level 9, number 6. Again, if you're good with this, please go to level 9, number 6. Yeah, that was a typo. We'll be replacing that as level 10. So level 9, number 6. Are there any questions on this before I move forward? Okay, great. Level 9, number 6, so here we go. And notice there are sort of two tasks here. So one is to rewrite the sum in sigma notation, and the other one is to evaluate the sum. So I'll start by rewriting. Alright, so I've got this here. So remember, you're going to always identify if you can right away. So I hope you're getting this. I hope you're getting this. Sigma. We need to find what goes here, the general form. We need to find the term number. This is not term 56.7. Term numbers are natural numbers, that is to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on and so on. Nora? Right, so we were having a little discussion about this piece earlier. So remember, this is the index. Any letter is applicable here. It's okay, as long as it matches the letter here. That's the first piece. Right. So the 1 we said, if we have an arithmetic or geometric sequence that we can identify, almost always going to be 1. The exception was, I was discussing earlier, problem number 7. Here we started with n equals 2 just by choice, but anytime, and we kind of gave you this hint here, the first term should have an index value of 1 to most easily apply the formula. That is to say, if you have arithmetic or geometric, I think you're 99.99999% of the time going to have n equals 1. In fact, almost the only time we would ever use sigma notation is if we have arithmetic or geometric.
So it would be like, so n equals something you choose, like you could choose B.
You could pick like J.
No, I mean like when it says n equals 1, can you make 1 equal any number?
No. That's what I'm saying. Start with 1 because this is the first term of the sequence.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay, now we need to find what number term we have here. Let's go through that process. So here's the answer to part 1. And then part 2 says just evaluate the sum. In other words, evaluate this. Remember, this statement right here says the same thing as this. This is just saying find the sum of every term from term 1 to term 29 of this sequence right here. So let's go ahead and do that. Well, because I know this is this kind of sequence, I identified that early. I know this formula is applicable. know I am finding this partial sum, because that's the number of terms I am adding. As I said earlier, this would be a calculator active problem. And there you have it. And this is a little bit hard to read, I know, so I can rewrite it here. What that says is this. Okay. Let me stop here and take some questions before I go to problem number 10, which is a little bit lower on, I'm not sure why I called it level 3 again, it should be level 10, but problem 10, level 10. That's where I'm going next, so let me see here if there are going to be some questions. Probably. Jessica, go ahead. Great question. So this is 56.7 is AN, and this is 0.7 is A1. So just adding those, I get the 57 points. Okay, good question. What else? Okay. So level 10, number 10. Remember, level 10 is actually what is mislabeled as level 3, as the second level 3, if you will. Go ahead and call it level 10, please. Okay, great. So number 10, let's write down what they give us. They gave us A1 was 5, D equals 2, S sub n is 2700. And again, I'll unfreeze here in 1 second. Just want to verify. So before we move on, are there any more questions on level 9, number 6, before I go on?
Which question were we on?
Yeah, we're on number 10 right here. Alright, so here they've told us this is an arithmetic sequence. For problems like this, they will tell you, even on the exam, to assume it's arithmetic, because they don't even give you a sequence, so you have to know one way or the other. Because it is arithmetic, I know there are 2 formulas that might come in handy. I would go ahead and list those formulas down, similar to what we were doing with the trig identities, where I would list on the side which trig identities might apply. So there are 2 formulae that could be used here. I will go ahead and identify those. I would then go ahead and just plug in what I know into both formulas. So I just rewrite both formulas, plugging in what I know to see what might be helpful. Here's what we've got. Well, after we plug in everything we know. Go ahead, Juan.
Can you plug
Go ahead. Yes, you're right.
SN for
Yeah. What should I plug in for SN, Juan?
2700?
Right. That's the key. So this can come in here. Right. So we'll say 20.